Regardless of terminology, the concerns that environmental justice seeks to address have relevance across societies. Certain communities and groups across the world continue to face disproportionate exposure to environmental hazards. The benefits and costs of environmental policies are also often unequally distributed, and there are significant barriers to meaningful participation in environmental decision-making. Certain communities are located near industrial facilities, which increases their exposure to pollutants and risk of negative health effects. This has led to concerns over sacrifice zones in many parts of the world. Environmental policies are essential for a sustainable economy. However, policies can affect the price of energy-intensive goods, which generally hurt low-income households the most. Vulnerable communities have access to fewer resources. This can limit their ability to meaningfully engage with and influence decisions that affect their environment or welfare. Information on potential policies may also be unavailable in local languages.
La justicia ambiental se constituye en un gran reto, especialmente el derecho a gozar de un ambiente sano, el acceso a la participación, a la información y a la justicia ambiental. Tenemos muchas alternativas, muchas herramientas para hacer realidad esto.
Environmental injustice in South Africa basically has its root in the anti-apartheid struggle. With democracy, that changed. First of all, we had a constitutional environmental right. So any decision that affects anybody on the ground, the aspect of environmental justice has to be considered in government's decision.
Ko tino rangatiratanga te kaupapa, ko tino rangatiratanga te mahi. For Indigenous communities in Aotearoa, New Zealand, self-determination, decision-making at place is the work that we're doing to progress environmental justice. Ka whawhai tonu mātou.
An important way in which environmental injustice is being addressed is through the inclusion of waste pickers in the global negotiations around the Global Plastics Treaty, as well as important stakeholders in municipal and national level policy making around environmental issues.
Don't tell me your priorities, show me your budget and it'll reflect your priorities. In the United States, we've dedicated trillions of dollars to advancing environmental justice throughout the country. We've also worked with our international partners, such as those in the OECD, in order to advance science and methodology. We're very hopeful that these efforts will result in advancing environmental justice in the States and throughout the world.
I think one of the key issues in environmental justice is this idea of local knowledge and the inclusion of local knowledge in environmental decision making. It's real data that countries can use, and I think a variety of countries can learn from each other about how that knowledge, how that data, how the community inclusion is being incorporated into environmental decision making.
Countries are all facing the same issues about environmental justice, and sharing good experience allows us to find ways of tackling it better. And the OECD is an expert at bringing us together, putting us in a room, making us talk to each other, share those experiences and learn from each other.
Ensuring environmental justice has become even more urgent within the context of the green transition, be it the expansion of renewables, the extraction of critical raw materials, or introduction of more stringent environmental policies. We need to ensure that the concerns of the affected communities are meaningfully addressed and that no one is left behind. It is in this broader context that OECD is undertaking work on environmental justice. We take stock of how countries are devising policies to address environmental justice concerns. We provide a forum for governments and stakeholders to address common challenges and identify good practices. And last but not least, we seek to deepen the analytical base that countries can use to devise better policies to advance environmental justice.